What's up, Rocket Scooter? Day 11. 10-day streak so far. Can we go for 11? Let's see if we can do it. Good seeing y'all. Remember, Rocket Scooter not licensed professionals. Trade at your own risk. It's tons and tons and tons of cool things to learn here, but be careful when you trade. Market opening, irrational to the upside on the S&P. We're looking pretty interesting here. We have an upside target NASDAQ, yellow lines coming up. It's interesting. I'm going to see how this works. You know, when you open irrational to the upside already, market's going to be crazy and weird. This could just be another sit out day, and that sounds kind of cool. So we'll see how that works. We'll see how in just a little bit.
Talk to me honestly. I'm here.
All right. I'm gonna be on a Twitter space this morning. I'm gonna be bouncing like a bajillion different things. Trying to wrap up the RAS. We had hundreds of people sign up last night. Gee golly. Gee golly. Click that like button while you're waiting. We got about 10 minutes for market starts and our pre-market prep. Hmm. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Leah. Hey, Wolf. What we call, rational markets. We have the S&P and the Nasdaq are both moving very quickly. About a 32-point rip in futures in the overnight, and probably about 160 points in futures on Nasdaq. This is interesting to see, but Nasdaq is at kind of this consolidating range, and it's kind of hard to measure. Usually these irrational days when you open this way, I usually like to sit out and let it kind of stabilize. It's a little bit far to move in the future session for me to really kind of act or chase on that. It's gonna be interesting to see what we do as far as going through the rest of the week. I mean, obviously we don't have much else on the docket as far as catalyst goes, so I'm going to be very careful watching this. I mean, I'm going to be strictly watching indices, and I'll try to look for some plays that are maybe lagging behind. If the indices are moving up, I'll try to look for some stuff that I think is going to move up, and just use my scanner and pull up some stocks maybe. But this could be a glorified sit out day today for us. What's up? What's up? What's up? Okay, let's get those DD numbers up front and center. Upper DD band 41743. Over here. So basically futures have moved too far too fast overnight. We already are outside the window of opportunity. We're rational to the upside, to irrational, as you are going to learn. The more and more and more you are here, you're going to love hearing these words. Is that right? 41114. Let me double check this. 4132. Let me make sure this is all right. Oh, you know what? I might have an error in the bot. Let me check this really quick. The bot we scrounged together just to have something to get us until we get it all programmed in here. 414. Is that correct? Yeah, that's right. Just double checking something. All right, it's probably gonna be like glorified sit out day today. It's gonna be neat to see that. The S&P conversion to 417.45. Make sure you guys smash that like button while you're waiting here. Okay, so this is not it's gonna be, yeah, this is correct. 417.44. Get everything lined up here. Oops. And then we have, so I might be sitting out today already from the start. We kind of already know that, right? So this is one of those days where you wake up and you look at it and you go, oh man, things have moved too far, too fast. There's probably not a lot to take from. It's going to be a choppy, tight, non-volatile day because we are clearly below triple B on VIX, which is going to show the VIX is in decay. And we're kind of stuck at the high, so I don't think we're going to do anything right from the start before the market opens. How about that? So part of the things they'll train you here, especially at Rocket Scooter, is that you can wake up even pre-market and know that you're probably not going to deal with it. Don't overtrade. I never overtrade. Having a day off is great. I also am like, you know, doing the stream and on a space. And so now I can just focus on that, focus on y'all. What's up, Marcus? Good morning. Don't forget to post link in Rocket Scooter chat. That's right. I need to do that. Thank you for reminding me. The bot should be posting it. I don't know. There's a thing called live stream links. I wonder what maybe it's getting deleted. The bot's going overboard with the deletion. I know why. I know why. I have the bot scrape that channel. What happens is, I know I'm doing it. So that there's not like an endless stream of videos, the bot deletes at midnight. National Pizza Day, by the way. Because remember we had our pizza party last night. Let me turn the music down a little bit. Did y'all enjoy the pizza party? So what happens is I have the bot. So the chat, basically when I post on YouTube, the bot posts the link. One bot posts the link automatically in the Discord, but then every night another bot at midnight scrapes that link so that it goes away. Or scrapes that channel. So it's like one link every day. Like you go to that channel, there's just one link. So it's not like a which video do I watch sort of thing. It's like it's just one video there and that's the live stream. But I've been pre-making my streams so that they're sitting there like scheduled. So I scheduled my streams before midnight. So the bot is actually deleting them. Oh. Is that the right DD level? I mean, I'm looking. I know it seems really weird to me as well. Like we should be at the DD level, 4160. When I'm, yeah, I don't really know. Something seems off, and I'm kind of. I'm trying to see what I'm doing. There's got to be something up. Yeah. Oh God, yes, there it is. I found it. There's an error. Oh gosh. Okay, you can tell. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I found it. That is an error. Okay. I've been trying to bug test this thing for a little bit. That's what it is. Okay, I just found it. So much better. Okay. All right. I found one error. Okay. Just in the bot. The bot is, I'm going to calculate this really quick. Okay, we're ready to go. Yeah, pretty much irrational right out the door. So let me get back and calculate this super quick. We've got 6 minutes till open. Really not much I'm going to do today, I don't think. Let me double check this. Okay, 4166. Okay, that's because I have the wrong info there. 4130, 41 3250. Yeah, I did the wrong thing. There's one manual thing I got to do every day. 12558. Okay, yeah, the S&P one was wrong. So it's going to be 41434. There it is. And then there's going to be this one. And this one's going to be 4103, which is going to make it 411. Yeah. Man, okay, I fixed it. So some of y'all that have been messaging me like, what's up with the bot? I fixed it. 4. Okay, so this is right. 4:11:45. There we go. There we go. We good. Oh. Okay. Love it. Okay, it's probably a sit out day today, so let's go ahead and let's do it. Okay, this is good. Here's the bot. Market's open in 2 minutes. Get ready to go. Feel free to smash that like button while you're here. Sorry about my sniffles. I'm still a little sicky sick. I just say that in your radio voice. Do I sound like I'm on Holmes Hammer Radio? Is there a way to hide overnight candles? I'm sure there is. And if there's not, let me know. To be honest, I haven't fully explored all the trading features just yet. That'll obviously be something that we should probably make like a guidebook on how to do like the basic stuff. But you would go in the settings, right? You either go here and go to settings, and you can play with it there. How's 0-2 report? We'll look at that today. We'll kind of get in there and talk about that. Irrational to the upside, so DD bands are here. Irrational to the upside. We do have an outstanding red line to the downside, so I'm keeping that focus. Let's talk about the VIX really quick. These are all Rocket Scooter calcs that are not in the platform yet. VIX in decay, stuck at the high, stuck at the high. Outside of these bands, irrational from the start. Irrational means resilience. Not expected to lead the market. Market's gonna be a little bit of random and unpredictable. We have 1 minute till we open, so I sometimes will chase irrational to the upside just to look for trades, but there's really limitations. We remember yellow lines are usually short ops, which was my short op last couple of days. Breaking through here and going is going to be a squeeze to run. So I'm going to be very careful trading in here. There are very tight resistances, and we are irrational. And with VIX trading down and us sitting up high, it's likely stuck in a very narrow range, maybe a 10 point, 15 point range. Probably not a breakout, and there's probably not an opportunity, which is great because at the start, I already know I'm probably going to just sit out and listen to music and hang out with you guys and eat some leftover pizza from last night. Pretty cool. Smash the like button while you can. Everybody, scroll down. We got about a minute till the calcs get rolled out. And I did fix the bot. If somebody can put a message in chat and say Matt finally fixed the bot, by the way, maybe put it in the members or put it in the public chat for me. There was an error. I cut and paste over one of the formulas, so it was like hard coded from the last 3 or 4 days. Love is part in the morning. Yeah, man, I'm about to go make some coffee and chill. How do we know it's an irrational day? Is our DD bands trick. So that's one of the neat things we do every day. I'm still on my winning streak for the challenge, right? This is day 11. I haven't lost a trading day yet. My stats are posted in Discord. If you'd like to see historic P&L, the only trader who that I heard my name. The only trader who publishes a P&L historic from start to finish. I said I'm going to start a challenge in 2013. I'm going to post the entire broker statement from 2020, from this year, historically from the challenge. Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry. I am just looking right now. We opened irrational outside of one of our techniques. We just call it the DD bands based on risk intervals. And if the futures move too far, too fast in the open, it's kind of, we call the market slightly random. It's a sit out day for me. I might look for scalps, but the problem is with the VIX and decay, it means we're not going to be that volatile. So we're probably stuck at the high. So I think that, you know, the market's moved really far and we might just oscillate 10, 15 points to the upside, if anything. Other than that, it doesn't look like it's going to sell off because there's no volatility. It doesn't look like it's going to rally because we're at resistances and stuck at the top. So in all honesty, as soon as I get these calcs come through, I'll kind of have a look at it. But I wouldn't put too much faith in anything when markets are irrational, especially with like the rocket scare stuff. We choose to sit out. And then there's a bull long up at 413.5. But if we lose that level, anything below 412.5, it's just going to collapse. So these are really tight ranges on the SPY. So if you guys are listening to what I'm doing, if you're not in our stream, it's 412.5 is our monthly hedge pressure level. That is if we break it, the market can collapse today pretty hard. I don't think it will. The VIX isn't showing that it will. So we're probably just gonna slow float and stay tight at the top, and really not much going on here. Oh, good morning, Michael. Vegas. I just chimed in and saw y'all here. Are you doing anything today, Vegas? Hit refresh. If you're already open when the market opens, hit refresh and it'll pop up. Yeah. So the monthly, the difference between the monthly and so the monthly hedge pressure is like a month scale. Imagine zooming out on an indicator that you would have normally, and you look at like a month chart of it, right? So that's kind of the lead off into the expiration and the monthlies. So that's kind of like my greater sentiment. So that's bullish, and then of course the daily is like today's move, and that's also bullish. But the thing is in that setup, I'm looking to long off of the hedge pressure, and normally. But when you open this high on futures, that's a check that we usually do, and these checks are kind of saying market's going to be crazy. It supersedes or it kind of overrides my choice to do anything. So and there's another technique that we are programming into our platform. It should be out probably within the month, but we manually do it, and on my stream I manually show it. So when we move too far, and if you guys want to write down a little number, if you move more than 29.5 points, which is currently what it is in the S&P futures overnight, the market is just irrational. 29.5 up or down. If you move too far and you open too far, it's going to be a little abnormal. Most of the price action is going to be people shuffling and hedging for that unusual futures move. So you kind of don't put a lot of stock or faith into any indications, to be honest. And we say when that happens, I don't take that long, and we call it like our irrational checks. So I don't like the long at the high. And so I sit out and kind of just take the day easy. So like the liquidity maps are superseded by weird, unusual stuff. And we have a bunch of little checks that we look at. And that's one of them. And it's not currently programmed into our platform yet, but it's being worked on now. So yeah. Yes, sir. So we are irrational to the upside, not doing much. Welcome. Smash that like button, everybody, if you're here. That the shared screen is really blurry. You might have a setting in your YouTube where you can change. In the bottom right, there's a gear that you can actually change. Let's pull the scanner up and see if we got anything. So Dan, these are actually in a bot in our Discord until we get them published in Rocket Scooter. So what we're doing right now is we're actually getting futures data. If y'all are new here, within a month, you'll be able to trade futures through our platform, which is a huge breakthrough for us. If those of you are just tuning in, maybe it's your first day here, maybe you saw the Trades of Matt video yesterday, or y'all are here from the Ash and Nolan team. If you're a futures trader, we're going to be having all kind of new things for all of y'all. So when the futures data comes through, it'll start populating these bands for y'all on here. Especially when you're sick as a warm cup of organic bone broth or stock. No, that's what Nicole always tells me. That's what they do in her family. Morning traders, get that morning. Yeah, I'm sitting out today. It's just irrational from the start. Not sure if it's you, but the screen is very blurry. Yeah, just change your resolution. Bottom right, the gear. Where are you getting the upper lower DD numbers from? You mentioned they were irrational, but DD upper lower post in Discord. The bot was incorrect, Dan. I deleted I actually cut and paste over the right numbers, but the ones posted now are correct, I believe, unless the bot is not publishing them. So we're recovering from a massive server outage, and if you guys want to know what actually happened, we had an unusual single account send tens of thousands of requests without confirming with the server its purpose. So our account was actually our server was maliciously hacked last night, attacked. So somebody decided to get clever and brute force our server down in the middle of, like, within an hour of the Trades by Matt video being published. How funny is that? Man, I can only think of one person out there with malicious intent. Exactly what happened. We have all the logs. We have everything, so. They exploited a security flaw. Oh, yeah. So we're trying to recover from that and just kind of get everything back going. So we're good now. So basically today, right, there is no trade today. Today's a sit out day. The market likely might pull back. The only long entry I have is from here to there. I'm actually not going to take it because we are outside of the realm of what I call rational market. So nothing in here. I mean, there's a very small thing, and I don't really like anything that I see. Well, So interestingly enough is that when you do wake up with trades like this, one of the things you can always say is that, you know, you have power to not do anything. The CFTC published a report that said they're going to be late on that. So I'm not sure if it's going to be today or tomorrow, but they did have something going on where they are late on the Committee of Traders report. So what that is, if you're new here, is a report that the regulatory body puts out that shows active positions. So you can see where all your hedge funds and market makers are positioned in futures. And it's one of our favorite fundamental tools that we use. Do you remember, Matt? Yeah, and we're irrational, so I'm not really putting a lot of stock into it. I'm wondering where my bands went. Oh, there they are. Okay, I'm gonna have to refresh. Hold on one second. So I'm gonna log out and log back in on my platform. We're just doing one more data check thing. So if you guys are experiencing something right now, just go ahead and log back out and log back in, just as a little direction. I have to do the same just to get everything back up. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, our server literally was maliciously attacked. Our lawyers found some tweets and some posts and stuff that seem to post threats towards Trades by Matt and others and us at the same time the server went down. So let's see. All right, got my data. Cool. We good. Weird. There's some weird, crazy folks out there that don't like people who trade. Yeah. So if you want to know, you know, that's what you deal with. But hey, listen, when you post your trades and you show your trades and you show what you do, there's always somebody out there that doesn't, that just wants to grab onto your rising star and sell you something, but try to talk you into it or whatever instead of show you they trade. All right, let's go. So we were pulling back on QQQ a little bit. This is the half gap area. There's a huge redistribution zone. And so I'm not necessarily going to trade any of this. You have, look, NASDAQ resilience negative, S&P resilience positive. It's just a sit out day, so we're just going to chill and hang out. All right, so we're good here. Wasn't it the famous Larry Williams that uses COT? I'm not really sure, but if Larry Williams uses COT, that's awesome. Is irrational strictly based on the futures volatility? Yeah, anytime you breach through the band, the market's irrational. When you come back in, it is rational. So I haven't done QQQ yet. We're just doing our server recovery right now. So I'm going to mark these, right? It's going to be 311.40. So we had a fun game. So if you're new here to the stream, we had a fun game the other day. We played this game and kind of ran out of time, but let's play it again. And I like this, I'm gonna see what everybody thinks, so we have a whole bunch of new people in here. If you were abducted by an alien in a UFO, right? And they took you all the way to their home planet. And you're up in the space, you're up in like the clouds, this giant cloud city, and you're sitting there, and I'll explain some of the stuff you see on the screen, by the way, while we're playing the game. But anyways, they nailed you for their leader, and the leader was like, all right, I love music. I'm gonna, very much like the Rick and Morty episode, right? Where they're like, show me what you got. And they're gonna say, if you could give me one song that you know from planet Earth, that if I hear it, it will save your species from us blowing up your planet to build a outer space superhighway because you're in the way in a Hitchhiker's Guide style. What would be the song that you think you would say that would get the leader of the other planet like bobbing their head and saying, all right, y'all got a future? What do I think that the market's going to do now that they're Q4 earnings? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so really, irrational day means nothing. What Rocket Scooter does, if you guys have never seen it before, just going to talk about it really quick. We have 5 different tools. Let me get my tablet here so I can actually draw. We have 5 different tools that tell me to sit out from the start. It tells me the market's going to be like a crazy, weird, what we call irrational day. So those triggered right at the start. And while irrational days aren't, let me make sure I got the NASDAQ ones done correctly. We have 3 rules that tell us the market's going to be random. So irrational market means that you can't rationalize your indicators on top of being random. So anything that you use, whether you guys use like, any kind of cumulative delta, volume profiles, VWAPs, moving averages, you tend to just not use them when the market has flagged any sense of irrational on our market. Pardon me, I have a cold. So if any one of these things trigger at least once, your indicators are going to start behaving weirdly. And this is one of the neat things about Rocket Scooter is like you've never had a technical indicator say, hey, warning, don't use me. This is a bad signal. Like it doesn't tell you it's a bad signal. So ours does. So if you get, and I'm going to draw these bands really quick. Let me make sure I get it done here. 12, 559. I'm going to do the one on NASDAQ just to show you if you're a NASDAQ trader. Okay, so let me make sure I get this done. And so 12, 150, 12, 559. Okay. Let me make sure I write these down really quick. 12, 660 high. So when we get our futures data in here, these green bands will actually populate automatically, which is the best part. 12, 450. Cool. We have 304 and 310. So let's go ahead and hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna estimate it. So this one is about like right here. And the other one is like way down here. So trying to make a bot to do it just to publish in the Discord just to help out. But basically looking about like this. So anytime you breach to these bands or you move beyond these bands overnight, say in futures, markets are irrational. So I take everything with a grain of salt. Usually when you move that distance, and it's a pretty cool trick, you just say you can't rationalize your indication. So you kind of sit out. Freebird, BG Staying Alive. I think Freebird would be a great song op. I completely agree. And so in this particular mode, right, the rational markets, we sit out. So as long as markets are rational, we have three major tools that are pretty much the best tools we use. Number one's a liquidity map, and liquidity map is something that you'll have. Let me just open up a thing. So liquidity map is a little guidebook that we have, and this will be in our rule assist module when we build it, so it'll all be automated on the charts at some point, which is awesome to have. Little arrows drawn on your chart to show where buyers and sellers are. That's exactly what this thing is showing you. So if you're ever struggling trying to trade like all over the place, up, down, and you're like, I always feel like I buy and it goes against me, or sell and it goes against me. And really what you're wanting to do is locate where buyers and sellers can be. We've created a technique that predicts where volume will be at any given place. Like you nailed any one of your trades and you got lucky because you chased momentum to the downside. Okay. Well, one thing is that when markets are falling and you go, "Ooh, I could have bought right there," and look at that green candle. This is one of our techniques, and each one of these lines on the chart predicts high volume. And so these arrows are showing you where high volume will be before it happens. So you're not looking at any technical indicators. We actually derive all this secretly. The little secret here is actually comes from options. We have this very sophisticated algorithm. You guys may have remembered me. If you guys remember me from the YouTube stream, if y'all are, especially y'all are from Matt's crew and y'all came here maybe a year ago when we used to stream before we built or 2 years ago before we built the Rocket Scooter platform. You know, remember we were like, we're building something really cool. Just like stick around, a couple years, we're gonna release it, right? And so this is it, and we finally finished it up. And it's as simple as this, right? We've isolated where you can find buyers and sellers are. An example of this thing says BSU, and before you understand what they are, you just come down here and match the letters, right? BSU is a inside of these yellow and blue, just like it shows. So if I were to take a guess on what I do today, even if the market didn't have that flag that, you know, you say was irrational, where irrational means you can't really rationalize much. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. It's like, okay, that looks kind of good, but like it was irrational. So maybe if I wanted to do something there, I would do something really small, right? Because I don't want to put a lot of risk on the table when I don't trust my indicators fully, and whatever indicator you use to be the same. So if I were to draw on the chart, which I'll do really quick, pick a green. So you can see that bouncing between the two hedge pressures is a really strong signal. It doesn't mean buy here. That's not what that's telling you. But what the arrows tell you is if you see an arrow like this, it's telling you that if there are buyers, green means buyers, green means bulls, red means bears, or buyers and sellers, right? So this means there are buyers, and if I'm looking for buyers to match sellers, it would be like this. There are buyers there and there are sellers there if I'm a bull. So if I'm a bull, quote unquote, in QQQ, and I want to jump in where I think buyers will be and jump out where I think sellers will be, then I'm looking for that path, which is this path here. As we are trading in the middle, I'm not going to jump in the middle and do anything right there. So since there are no likely sellers right here, I'm not going to short either. Does that make sense? And that's essentially my entire trade plan. So from the start of the day, I'm looking at this and saying I'm going to sit out, but I will like to take a long if we dip to 304.5. So Paradise City by Guns N' Roses. Okay. That's a great song. Beethoven's Ninth and Fourth Movement. I think anything Beethoven. Denny, is that is your, I can't see because it's really small, but is your avatar Beethoven? Or is it George Washington with sunglasses? I can't really see. It's really small. What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. I feel like every time that song gets played, the world gets blown up. Like that's like the song everybody plays in every alien movie where the aliens blow up the earth while it's being played. Or like they play that ironically at the end of the apocalypse where they're panning over all the cities that are overgrown with stuff. What a wonderful world. Where the fire's burning in the background. But that's like one of the best songs ever. I like when they, that reminds me of when they played The Wonderful World at the, was it in 12 Monkeys, right? When they played that, which was a great movie. BG Staying Alive, Morning Mal. What's up? Hey, what's up, Joel? Queen, Don't Stop Me Now. Yeah, Don't Stop Me Now would like, however, didn't they play Don't Stop Me Now in one of the Guardian movies when they were blowing something up or fighting somebody? That's one of my favorite Queen songs. I love that song. Is that Bach? Oh yeah. It's super, like on my screen, it's maybe like 10 pixels tall. It's so small. Hold far. Can you go over the scanner? It's possible to find stock in a monthly hedge. Yeah, actually it can. So does everybody understand, if y'all can really quick, what's going on here? And by the way, smash that like button if you can while you're here. We would love to have you take a look at that. Yeah, so does everyone understand? Like, I'm not looking to short today, and even if it does fall, I just tell myself I'm okay. I didn't miss anything. Okay, cool. So let's pull some things on the scanner. So since I'm looking for this in QQQ, there's really nothing to say. We have another indicator, and this DD is telling me that the bull side is going to be support. That's another thing. That's a very simple tool to use. And what DD is a really strong bias meter, and you can see that right here with it being 0.8, which is great. And the way that we look at DD, which I'll just draw really quick, it means right here. Now in the Trades of Matt video, he'll tell you that DD doesn't change. It changes, but it changes so small it doesn't really ever change. But effectively, it doesn't change. But it really does change in real time. But it very rarely will change. So the thing is that it's the bull bias. So if like one single stock goes from here to here, this is market cap, so it will reflect, but you might see it go from 84 to 84.1, 841. It doesn't really move a lot. So we practically say it stays the same all the time, but it is actually, we recently updated it to be, or actually not recently, but like when we made it here in the platform before, when we used to have it in a bot, it is dynamic and it will change, but it's very rare that stocks will move from bear to bull side and vice versa. So in the event that the market does collapse, you will see in those rare market crash days that DD will change in real time. So we haven't seen one since Matt started using the platform. So you look at it, it stays flat all day, and it will very rarely change on a normal day. I've actually never seen it change either since we put it in the platform. So I'm curious to see, and actually one of the things that they're going to make is a little DD meter right here, which is our next release. It'll show like when it does change, you want to see if the market does crash, but it's practically static. So 80, it's a number between 0 and 1, and anything between 0 and 1/2 is bearish bias. Anything at 1/2 is neutral, and anything 1/2 to 1 is very bullish bias. And it's a very cool thing that just looks at what we call bear and bull zone. And bear and bull zone is a neat way that we split the entire market based on market makers risk. That's our little technique here. So as you can see, this example, QQQ is in what's called a bull zone. If I were to look at all the stocks in the S&P that are in bull zone and all the stocks that are in bear zone and make a comparison, this is that comparison. And so 0.84 means the majority of your stocks are going to be in a bull zone. So I expect the index to stay in that same mindset. So let's take an analysis of SPY. So if I were to pick a trade plan today, I want to see the index products pull back, and I really would love to take a stab at them down here to the bottom. Okay, and let me draw my bands up here as well. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through a couple more cool stuff that we do here. In 1 second. So 410.4. Is that Mars blog talking? Oh, whole Mars blog is on the pod. So I'm on a podcast right now. If I get quiet a little bit, sometimes you might see I get double booked. I do a lot of Twitter spaces. I'm on a couple of podcasts and stuff. So sometimes I'll be live streaming and I'll be on a Twitter space and or a podcast at the same time, sometimes in 3 places at once. So I have 2 phones, like one here, one there, a laptop, I got a computer, and so I'm streaming from a million different places at once. So it's kind of a fun it's kind of a fun experience to test my capabilities of multitasking. Trust me, this is like, if I wish I played the drums with this amount of being able to multitask with all my limbs. Okay. So another thing is that S&P is bouncing between a bull long and a bull short. So let's pull this back up on this liquidity map and take a look. So the difference between a bull long up and a bull short up is I'm still just looking for buyers. When you bounce from one side to the other, the letters will change as the price moves. So if I were to just chime in right now, it says BSU. I'm going to come to BSU and look at this and say, okay, right now, if I want to find some bulls and some buyers, I could long off a monthly hedge pressure from here to here for a scalp. As a matter of fact, that's likely what I might do today. But I know since we were irrational, I'm just going to play a small trade. And it's only a scalp from here to here. Now, notice that I'm not shorting, right? And also, and this is also from that video that you might have seen Matt made, is that anytime you break through hedge pressure, that's not what you expected to see, right? In this bull long up, you don't expect that to happen. And again, when you break through hedge pressure, is another irrational sign. So we call this in our terms, we call it window of opportunity. Market's irrational up here and irrational down here. So really, it's just not a trading day. And if you know at the start of the day, which is kind of neat, is as we train you guys on how to do this, you will notice that that's the first thing I said was, cool, today's a sit out day. And I know that doesn't sound like the most fun thing. You're probably out there like, man, how am I gonna make my millions? How am I gonna make my money sitting out? This doesn't make any sense. Well, that's how you make your money, is by sitting out. When you can predict, you should sit out. And as you get better at trading, I'll tell you, when I started becoming very consistent at trading, what I noticed that made me consistent was being picky about my trades. If you haven't seen my P&L of the challenge, by the way, let's let you guys know. I'm going to do 10K to 100K live in front of your very eyes, literally live. You will see every single move made. So this is the account challenge. Now, if you watch my last account challenge, I took, it was a $6,700 account, and we traded all the way until the day we pivoted to start building the Rocket Scooter platform. And at the end of the challenge, it was about 80 to 90,000. It was somewhere in that range. The very last day I streamed, it was in the 80 to 90,000 range. I'll go back and look and see exactly what it was, but it was based 85, somewhere in there. And so that was the last day that was ever streamed on YouTube related to the challenge. And then we didn't stream on YouTube anymore. My last YouTube stream related to the challenge actually left YouTube at a high. I quit at a high, which is cool. And then we immediately got with our team and said, let's turn our classic app into the platform. And so we were trading in futures at the time. I say we, me. I was trading in futures at the time. And again, I show my win rate, my stats, everything. So I said in 2023, I'm going to commit to another trading challenge in futures. I'm just trading the S&P and NASDAQ. And in this challenge is pretty cool because I'm going to show the entire statement for the year. I'm committing to a 1-year broker statement. And you guys can watch all the stats historically as we go. Hey, I think we found our I would say don't talk about people in chat negatively. I think that's kind of silly, but I think we found the fake account belonging to. Hopefully you're not that weird stalker that stalks both of us. There's a weird guy that stalks me that deletes their live streams and loses tens of thousands of dollars too. If you're talking about people online, don't worry about what other people do. Worry about what you do. Worry about what I do. You're here to watch this with me. Don't talk about other people. I'll tell you something, right? I've been trading for, let's see, 13 years. All right. So the guy that just said something, you're hidden from my channel literally forever. You'll be the example for everyone else. If anyone says any negative thing about anybody, you'll lose your speaking privileges literally for the rest of your life. I put a 1 million year ban on you, and I love you, but you have a million years to think about what you did, and you can sit here and watch and not say anything else for 1 million years. There'll be a comet that hits the face of planet Earth, creating an extinction event before you're allowed to speak in my stream again. If anyone else would like to speak up and say anything, especially someone who's trying to sell a product by demeaning other traders, coming here faking accounts and maybe, I don't know, DDoSing our servers during a massive merger because they're jealous that everybody likes each other except for them, well, then you can't speak on my stream anymore, probably forever. So sorry about that. RS will change the game. He used pretty typical volume profiles. Dude, I love Matt. And the thing is that it doesn't matter. I've been trading for 13 years. Everyone is at some stage of their game and everybody's learning trading. And there's nothing wrong with being in a place where you're learning trading and improving and growing. You shouldn't make fun of somebody for like, you know how many times I've blown up an account in my journey? Countless. I lost count. Lost count. That's part of the game. You don't just walk in here with a fucking 80% win rate. Historically, you don't walk in here with a green chart like this. Like me Babe Ruthing this and pointing at the fence and saying, look, I'm going to show you an entire year of historic broker statement, which as a matter of fact, I'm the only person in the world who does this. No one else does this. It's bold, right? And I'm doing it because it's bold. I'm doing it because y'all want to see something and I'm going to promise you I'll do it. And nobody will do it. And everyone else will say anything they have to say. And I don't ever say anything. You never see me lose my cool on Twitter or whatever because I don't have to. I don't care what people think. Anyone that talks a bunch of smack about anybody or whatever just draws attention, right? People go, ooh, who's this Matt? Somebody said Matt Cowart sucks. Let me go check him out. And you come here and you go, oh, historic broker statement. Holy shit. And immediately you sell yourself to us. I don't even have to do a sales pitch. You come in here and see the stats and you're like, wait, the guy that was talking smack doesn't do this and you do? Let me stick around for a couple of days. And then 10 days later, I'm still doing it. And you're like, wow, okay. So you really just see this. Here's my sales pitch. Ready? I'm about to tell you my sales pitch. Here it is. I typed it in chat. I'll be right back. You just got to be nice to people, and it doesn't matter if people trade well or don't trade well. It's not the point. The fact is everyone's on a journey, and that's okay to be on a journey. We're all getting better. You don't just wake up with stats. You don't wake up being amazing. You don't wake up being bold. You don't just wake up and decide, I should be a trader and I should be a good trader. You wake up and you really, really, really work hard to get good at this. 13 years. That's a long time. That's a long commitment, right? And I think it's great that somebody puts themselves out there to trade. Especially like somebody like Matt. Like Matt draws a huge crowd because Matt is completely just cool. Like who doesn't like Matt? Matt's like one of the coolest guys I know. So to put yourself on a stream and trade is a very, very, very hard thing to do. And it's one thing if you go out there and claim I'm awesome, I'm the best, I'm great. Well, you got to put up the stats to go with it. But it's one thing that says, hey, I'm trading. Join me on my journey, you know, and then that's the point, right? As long as you're honest, which he's extremely honest, that's the best part. And actually, when I'm not streaming, FYI, I'm always watching Matt stream. He's my favorite streamer on the planet. I love watching Matt. So you got to be cool to people. And if these, you know, jealous weirdos wonder why everyone's on podcasts and everyone's on spaces and everybody has friends and everybody's like, you know, shaking each other's hands and having fun with each other, that's because here's how it works in business, right? The best way to get ahead is to make friends. That's it. Doesn't make any sense. If you ever saw Citizen Kane, it doesn't make any sense to buy a big fancy mansion. What was that? Xanadu, right? Do you remember that movie? Giant mansion. Giant anything. Massive fireplace. All kinds of artwork. Humongous swimming pool. If you got no friends to come to your pool party, don't matter. Party by yourself. So anyways, back to the thing. Yeah, so just waiting. I'm looking at SPY BLU today, and I'm not going to really do anything right now. I think the window of opportunity is outside of these gray bands. So we're irrational up here and irrational down here. What I do like to do is scalp off of monthly hedge pressure if the opportunity is there. Taking with a grain of salt that resilience is going to be possibly delayed. So do you see irrational in both ways? So there's really nothing to do. We're kind of just stuck with no trade. So I might do a little scalp up here just to do some action, but that's it. Catalyst on X during GlobeX session around 3 a.m. Yeah, what happened at 3 a.m., Alan? I saw a bunch of tweets about it. I saw Patrick, TSDR, first thing that showed up when I opened Twitter. Patrick was like, what the fuck? And I was like, wait, what's going on? There's just a weird candle overnight and I see it. I don't know, was that actually just a late print? Or is it actual volume? Let me go back and take a look at the futures. What we're talking about is this. So I'm gonna pull up my Thinkorswim just to go up and look at futures. So looks like there was a big crazy candle spike. There was a lot of volume, a lot of activity at 11:45. 7,000 contracts. So something happened. It was an order, and it did have a candle, so it means the order did come and flow. Let's go look all the way if I can find it. There it was. So velocity logic was triggered. Let's take a look at that. You can see very clearly where velocity logic was triggered right here. You see all those red candles that came through with no overlap. It was a large sell order. Interesting. The order was so large it cleared out all the tiers and the market makers had to adjust. So somebody just sold, literally dumped. That is not a late print because... Hold on. So let's look at the scanner. You have Matt here for your asking question about Rocket Scooter. Yeah, don't listen, Bonnie Tech. I'm gonna tell you one thing, and I'll tell you what I know. Everybody in trading, right? Everyone in trading is cool with each other. Everyone in trading. There is one mosquito in trading. One mosquito that everybody knows, but okay, let me start. There's one mosquito that nobody really knows, but if you are a streamer or you are a public facing person, you get bit a couple of times, and that the person is the master of fake accounts and all this stuff, and they have like 3 or 4 diehard followers, and they just go around and just annoy everybody. But it's because they're just mad and jealous that they don't have any visibility, and that's all they want. They want you to say their name, and we just don't say their name, and it makes them even madder, and so that's all it is. Don't put too much stock in you guys defending or talking about it either. When you're in public, you're going to have trouble. Tabloids are like that, man. There's always somebody who wants to talk dirt about someone, make a business out of it, and that's all it is. It's somebody actually trying to sell something. is always a business. Negativity is a really big business. And so, but the best advice I give to anyone is just ignore it. Give it no spotlight, and then they lose. Trading is new to you. Does anyone have any recommendations where you should start literature training courses? Mikey, why don't you head over to Rocket Scooter? We actually starting this really cool thing. I want you to try this out. The extended trial. And what it is, we have a $200 a month subscription to our platform, which comes with data feeds and everything else. This is making it $35 for 3 months. Try it out, and you can go through an entire training course that myself and Ashton Nolan, who is my favorite options trader on the planet, are teaming up, and we're going to produce this really cool training course for you guys. And it's a 6-week long thing, and for 3 months, you can go in at $35 a month. So it costs you $115 for 3 months. And that link will get you to it. And we start from square one on Monday. It's a daily thing. We'll have a session every day. And we'll also have those videos uploaded every day. We will take you from the basic to the advanced in 6 weeks. It'll be a slow burn and get you there. We'd love for everybody here to try that out, as a matter of fact. But if you're from Ashton's group, you must use Ashton's link to sign up. Don't use that one. That one's... Ashton's group is even a different whole thing. So check that out, Mikey, and you can come on through and start over and get some training from there. We'll go through a lot of stuff. No matter what you trade or want to trade, you'll get a little exposure to everything, so it can kind of direct you into, information about anything really. Types of trading, if it's swing trading or day trading, or options or stocks or futures. You'll learn a lot through that. So we'd love you to check it out. You saw a whole bunch of people talking about Disney earnings and other businesses. Don't think that happened at 3 a.m. Might be wrong. Let's see what happened with Disney, by the way. Disney earnings is today, right? Or was it yesterday? Is it today? Okay. So Disney's out the bottom, hedge pressure. Yeah. Well, bartending trader says really pathetic types of humans. Well, those type of humans probably have families to feed, and they found out that's the only way they can feed them. So, it's a survival, what they call a self-preservation technique. I mean, some people, that's just what they choose to do to put food on the table. So, God bless them, just like any other human, but that's their choice, and they make that choice. We don't, and that's not how we are. 11 sports and the coaches refer to players and numbers. Yeah. Aside from the negative side of trading streamers, is there anyone else you would shout out as a good truthful trading live streamers? John Lash. Great question. So really what you want is truthful, right? Truthful is what you say is what you do. You don't necessarily want to learn from the best trader on the planet. You might learn more from learning from the worst trader on the planet. As a matter of fact, you see somebody making constant mistakes, you're going to learn a lot about those mistakes. Oh, okay, I'll learn something. I'm not going to do that, right? So when somebody is touting themselves as like, I'm the best, they may be the best, but they may be such a super genius, you can't comprehend what their crazy brain is thinking of. It's not really useful to you either, right? So I think one of the misnomers people will do when they're trying to look for something is like, I want to look for the best person and follow what they do. Like if I were to dive into Magnus Carlsen's head and be like, I want to play chess just like him. There's no way, dude. His head is swirling with chess information. I would be so confused the moment I stepped into it, right? I'd be, oh, it's crazy. So it's like you want to learn from something that matches you, and that's really what I like to tell people. Find something that matches you. What's your personality like? This guy's chill. This guy's cool. Hey, I'm chill. Hey, I'm cool. He's slow paced. Okay. No, I'm neurotic and fast paced. Oh, this guy's like that too. So you want to like be somewhere where you feel like you're similar, so you can adopt similar habits and also be at the same pace. But you also want a variety of education too. And you just want somebody that's honest. And honest is this: they tell you what they're doing and they're doing it. If you say, hey, I'm trading a small account challenge from 10K to 100K. You'll watch me make 100K in 2 months. You will if I do it. It'll be about a 2-month process, or I'll go to zero if I don't. And what I deliver is exactly what I say. So I'm going to stream every day. It's going to be there in the morning. Every trade will be done on stream. If not on the YouTube, it'll be done on Zoom. You'll see every trade I've made live. And even so, if I happen to accidentally not be streaming the 1 or 2 times that may have ever happened, like I'm on vacation or something, and I still make a trade, the broker statement is posted as a backup, even so, to just confirm that it's real. And it's historic and yada, and like all the transparency things. Like, I promise that, I deliver that, and that's it. If somebody says, hey, I'm trading like a combine, you know, I think Patrick, what's his name? Wyland? I always forget how to pronounce. He trades, I think he's doing like a top step or something. I think Matt also trades top step. And they say that, like, I'm trading a combine, I'm trading a funded account, I'm trading, and they say they're doing it, and they're doing it. If they come out and say, hey, I'm going to make this gain, okay, I'm making this gain. They say, hey, what? But they're telling you what they're doing, and they're doing it. So honesty is really respected. And even if you come out, and, you know, people, again, people that you are watching, as long as they say they're doing something and they're doing it, that's honest. That's what I consider honest, right? And so those two guys stream, and they both stream futures. If you're looking at futures like myself, as far as options and day trading streamers, I don't really know of anybody, to be honest. There's so few of us out there that I could vouch for, at least live streaming on YouTube. Now, as far as like live, like people that trade who I'd vouch for, that stream either on Zoom or they just post their trades in their Discord. Oh, clearly Ashton Nolan being one of them. That's why we teamed up with him. Simply Sim is great. One of my favorites. She's an SPX trader, trades SPX options. That's a big money option. So that may not be something that you do or want to relate to, but she's great. Who else stream? I don't know if she's actually streaming though anymore. Sometimes she does. I'm always busy doing my thing, so I kind of lost track on who actually streams. I know TSDR, who's from Stock Talk Weekly's group, actually streams. I don't know if he streams his trades or not. It's been a long time since I've been there, but I remember when they started streaming, him and Baracco together would stream, and they would show like a grid of charts, and I caught it like a couple of times. And remember, I'm always streaming, so I don't get a chance to. But as far as I know, those are quality dudes to learn from as well. And they day trade options. They go for those like big momentum plays, and it's great because they're not too shy about, you know, fucking up. So they'll say like, oh yeah, we made it 100%, but then like Brock will be like, oh damn, I lost like a 500% or like lost 100%, or they're very honest about, hey, we won, hey, we lost, which I think is great. I think that's really desirable as far as like a person that's streaming or trading, because you'll see people out there that are always just showing their wins, right? 100%. They'll trade 20 different options, and the one that blasts off is the one that hits the Twitter feed, right? So if you're watching somebody trade, at minimum, right, I want you to look for a couple of things. The top tier, what I call transparency. Oh, and Vegas. I don't know if she streams. She's on the space right now with us, but Vegas is just awesome. She loves posting her plays, talking about her plays. She's good. Again, I'm not sure if she live streams. I don't know who is publicly streaming, or if they're just streaming to like their clients and stuff. So you guys, if y'all have any favorite streamers or people you know that stream and do anything, and I say like live streaming, but who are honest, right? Who say they're going to do something and they always do it. That's really what you want. And if you're diving in, even somebody that's honest but just not that great at trading, doesn't matter. You might not be great at trading either, and that's a good person to learn with, right? You guys both start boot camp on the same day, you got yourself a buddy to learn with. And even if your person that you're learning with is only maybe 6 months or a year ahead of you, and they're not amazing, they're still slightly better than you. And when you're getting better at trading, it's actually called the art of incremental gains. You're getting better slightly over time. So you might want to learn from somebody who's just slightly ahead of you, then learn from someone else who's slightly ahead of you then, and someone else slightly ahead of you then, and you grow. And then you might want to tether off of a pro and really dive in once you understand how this game works. And I always say that, like, there's a lot of salesmen out there whose job is to tell you they're the best. And even so, learning from the best is not the best place for most people to start. It'd be great for me to like train Cello under Yo-Yo Ma, but shit, like he's so far out there. There's no way I would on day one, he's going to sit there and play Baba Black Sheep for me on a cello, right? Like, I'd want to train with him when it's worthy for me to train with him, when I know how to actually, you know, play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star at least. So as long as people are honest and you vibe with them, that's kind of where you want to be. Some people come to me and say, man, Matt, you're just sometimes all over the place, and you know so much and it's really hard to catch up. And then I don't sit there and say, well, you know, like, keep paying me money or stick with us. I usually say, you know, well, how about this? We know some other folks you can actually go learn from and kind of get the basics there. We work with some other groups that actually are at different stages and different levels. There's a group that we work with called Kane Capital, and Kane Capital is a group of traders. They all trade different things, and they're all at different stages and levels, and they're younger guys. So it's kind of cool that like Diamond Dwayne, if you guys know those two traders, they're both just getting, I know they trade futures, but I think one of them just started trading futures from options. They started in the options world, and they're pivoting to futures. So it's like you have really smart traders who themselves are just getting into futures. And so you have somebody who understands the market but is newer to futures. That's a great like place for you as a person that's new to the market, new to anything, to really dive in for someone who's like exploring things you'll be exploring soon. And I love those guys to death. I mean, they're super good and super honest, which again, honesty is what matters to me. So that would be the Kane Capital folks, and they all do different. They're all fun. I like those guys a lot. Me and Kim Carson need to have a Twitter space. That'd be kind of cool. I'd love to learn from is it Chem, CEM? How you pronounce it? Okay, so now my question was SPY. We are irrational. Let me check resilience. Resilience is now negative. Remember, resilience may or may not lead the market. With resilience being negative, I'm not sure SPY is going to bounce. Let me resort to looking at the SPY monthly hedge pressure. Okay. Resilience, the yellow line is a yellow line tiebreaker. So irrational markets means I sit out. Isn't this crazy, right? A nice flat day just has an irrational drop. And I said I might want to scalp from here to here. But the problem is that this monthly hedge pressure resilience is a tiebreaker at monthly hedge pressure. This is a possible market crash today. And we're going to talk about it like before it happens. You have to be very, very, very careful. Now, with irrational markets, we always assume that resilience is not leading the market anymore. In a rational market, resilience is actually a leading indicator. That's why most people like it. It leads the market. But today, since we are irrational, resilience doesn't lead. This is a great lesson for that. You guys want a cool little quickie lesson? Type in your favorite streaming trader if you know somebody who's great at streaming. Type in their name. We've had 170, 80 people in here this morning. Y'all been all over the place. Who do you know that's a great trader? Cam is Gem? Oh, is it pronounced Gem? Like G-E-M? I never knew that. What is the what's it, the language or his nationality or his name originated? I've never heard C pronounced as a G. Gem? Is it French? I don't know what language would. So that's how you pronounce it? That's super cool. Did not know that. King Capital. No, Kane. K-A-N-E. Sorry. I'm still battling with the cold. There it is. See, I'm not long at yellow, and look at that, right? This is the lesson. Did I say I wasn't going to long at yellow? This is a rational market. And that, wow, I love when we have a lesson in real time. Okay, I want everybody here to do me a favor. Let's play a game. I'm going to put some things on here, and I'm going to number them. And I'm going to walk through each step. And if you don't understand each step, talk to me and we'll talk about it really quick. This is a 4 MHP res. Okay. This move is predicted. Right now, this is probably going to collapse the market. Maybe, right? You've watched Buy Money a few times. He seems honest and consistent. I don't know who that is. Do you mind, Micah, if you can send me a message in Discord with a link? I'd love to check it out. As a matter of fact, anybody, I've been on this quest this last year. As a matter of fact, actually been a 2-year quest, a 2-year journey. You may have noticed that Rocket Scooter and myself have initiated a lot of relationships or partnerships. We've been building for about a year, and all I've been doing is searching long and far for honest traders. You know, I like that Zac Efron show where he's touring the world, going to cultures, Anthony Bourdain style. Like, let me come to your country and meet a family at a restaurant, and like, let me come home with you and hang out with your family and see what it's like being you for a day. Right? That's kind of what I've been doing, is going from place to place to place and searching far and wide for honest traders. And honest traders, especially honest traders that don't have a lot of visibility yet, or honest traders that, you know, are newer to the game. If I find that you're honest, like I want to work with you, right? And learn from you and be part of what it is you're doing. And maybe, you know, help get you a spotlight. And that's kind of where I am with finding people. So if you find somebody that's honest, send me a check out my sniffles. Send me a link to one of their stuff. I'd love to check it out. Used to watch Ross Cameron. Not sure how legit he is. It seemed like a cool dude. He was like, I don't know if I haven't seen his stuff. I think I tuned into his stream long time ago. Remember, Ross Cameron was one of the first live streaming YouTube traders. And he trades the penny stocks. So like, I really don't connect with that world. I'm not a huge fan of the whole penny stock thing, as a lot of the penny stock thing has gotten a lot of heat lately as well. So I never really found his content to be like applicable to like what I do. But he seemed like a cool dude. Like, I have nothing bad to say about anybody. So but yeah, cool dude. Live streaming, does their stuff, and penny stocks aren't my thing, so I never really was a thing of. But if he did like penny stocks, I think he was the biggest penny stock trader guy. And I don't know if that's all he trades or if he trades other stuff, but oh yeah, I was confused on the trading day. It was BLU and he didn't go long. Well, Travis, Irrational, right? No, Travis, Irrational. The window of opportunity. Have you watched the video yet? I'm glad to walk you guys all through the brand new program, because a window of opportunity is the new thing. There's nowhere to trade. It's only okay to trade here. Only here. Okay, here. That's it. That's the only window I've got. Okay, let's start at number 1. Okay. Brian from Breaking Options. Joseph. Yeah, send me a link or something. If never heard of that person either. I'd love to check him out. That's the panda guy, Ben Fisher says. You're talking about Buy Money, the panda guy, or the other person? Ross Cameron. I don't think Ross Cameron's a panda. Who else are you talking about? Trading like Ross seems the most fun for me. As a former poker player, he's good at what he does, but hard to replicate. Ooh. Yeah, poker players tend to become pretty good traders, so I'd love to check that out too. Okay, we're getting ready to go through 1 through 4, everybody. Click that like button real quick, and I'm going to take a 2-second break. I'm not going to go anywhere, but I'm going to chat on this podcast real quick. There's a CPI methodology change alert. I just retweeted Neely Taminga. She did this tweet about the change in so the CPI calculation, if you guys didn't know, that looks at the the price consumer prices index, and the calculation actually does change over the years. And if you look at old CPI data from like the 70s, 80s, whenever, the equation wasn't the same back then as it is now, and actually it just looks like it just changed. I don't know what date it's applying. Oh, she actually posted it. Beginning with the January 23 CPI, weightings will be based on 2021 consumption expenditures. So weightings will no longer be based on 2 years of consumption data. It's now every year on a single year of data. Interesting. So they're trying to be tighter. That'll increase the volatility of the CPI year over year report, or not year over year, like the long. Yeah, I guess that would say if it's a 2-year weighting. As you know, with any kind of average, anytime you weigh something over a longer period of time, it smooths it out. So anytime you shorten the duration of any data set into an average, what it does is it will make it more volatile, but it also will reflect more accurately abrupt changes. So that's good, right, for being more accurate on the actual maybe sure that nobody's going to call my name really quick. So yeah, making sure that you'll have more abrupt changes in that, since it's not smoothing the data as much. So you'll have Wall Street responding a little more erratically to that, and they stir a little volatility in the stock market as well when those numbers come out, because they may on the surface appear more drastic, just they're not smooth as much. But also because it also, if you think about it, I'm like, okay, so if you're only using a year worth of data, then what it's doing is basically like, if you shorten the window, oh my gosh, whoa, wait, whoa. This is a math trick? Think about it. Watch this. Okay, let's write a word on the screen. Is this a math trick? All right, my math hounds, let's go here. COVID. So let's just say that like you have like weird stuff, right? Weird market. Weird stuff. And in like 2 years later and onward to 2024, you're still dipping in. Like if you're doing a 2 years of history, you're still dipping into the weird stuff. So right of 2023, you shorten the window to 1 year. Did you just erase COVID's effects from the CPI data by closing the window and not digging back 2 years from now? Because 2 years is going to go back into 2021. Is that why they did that? To make it look better on paper? Is that what happened? Am I thinking out? Am I going to sound stupid by tweeting something like that? Is that what's happening? Is that it? Is that what it is? You have to look at who decided to change it. Yeah, what position? How many shares of tech stocks do you own, person who changed that equation? That's hilarious. Is that why? Am I just being stupid and not reading this right? But is that what they did? They shortened the window so that the weird stuff doesn't appear in the equation anymore? So it just looks better on paper, right? They're going to erase the negative effects to make it look better on paper. I call it the magic eraser. That's kind of cool. I don't know if I need to really dive. I'm gonna talk to Neely later. She's a buddy of mine. I'm gonna actually like chat with her and see. I'll be like, is that what's really going on? MC, because she's a little theory crafter too on fundamental stuff. That's hilarious. Now, if I'm reading it right, essentially what they're doing is it's going to be a little more volatile as you start to less smooth out the data. But the CPI is going to like shorter window, shorter look back window means COVID's going to disappear from the CPI record much faster and its effects will leave a year sooner. Is that a trick to let the market seem less volatile, less crazy and volatile on paper? So that's what's called a rocket scooter, right? We don't see something on the surface and go, okay. We like, wait, who's motivated to do that and why? And that's why somebody, was it, wait. You have to look at who's assigning the changes. Garrett Otto is a Rocket Scooter Pro that's like, who did that and what's their motivation? Okay, let's talk about these. We have 5 rules that are irrational, and don't try to understand all of them at once, but just know that they all mean the same thing. If you're new, you don't trade. You got it? Everyone in chat, let's play a game. Do me a favor. Type this down because when you make your fingers do something, you're going to remember it much more than if you just think it in your head. You know why? If you ever played a musical instrument, you'll know that. Sometimes you'll just sit in front of a piano and just start playing. You're not actively thinking with your brain of each note. You just play by feel. I play guitar too. I pick up my guitar and I just start strumming and I'm just chord to chord to chord. I'm not necessarily like thinking of every single part of it. My muscle memory is going through and pulling data and information from a different part of my brain than my active recollection and short-term memory storage. So when you type something, the probability of you remembering it is much better. That's why I always say type in chat. That's a memory technique. And not only is like we're teaching you how to trade or training on how to trade, we're actually training you better than everything at par. The way we teach is just as important as what we teach. So when I say type something, you will remember it. As a matter of fact, because I used something that you're familiar with, music, you will remember that. As another trick, talking with stories that are familiar to people. Memory recollection is a thing that a good teacher is going to be good at, teaching you ways, subconsciously rewiring your memory by a process of how you teach. Like I've gone through training on how to teach better, right? Not everybody's going to be as hungry for like math as I am, but as a good story is I'll tell you that let's play a game. Okay. How to rig the system 101 for the CPI number. That's hilarious. Okay. So number 1, I want everybody to type this down. As a new trader, if you were a new trader, I'm talking new. You. Everybody, I want you to type this and repeat this in chat. If you were new, type in irrational. Sit out. Write that down. Everybody write it down. You will not forget this. 99% of the questions you guys ask me about what I did, I always say it was irrational. Sit out. Everyone write it. If you write it, you will remember it. If you write it, you'll incrementally get better at something. Who knows what it is? Maybe trading, maybe something else. Maybe just get better at following along on the stream. But I promise, if you write this down, you just got slightly better at something. Oh, let me try it in the. Everybody, it's a quickie. I'm gonna ask you to write down maybe 5 things, and at the end you'll remember them. I'm gonna quiz you. We're gonna play a game. If you stick with me for the next 10 minutes, I think we'll kind of blow your mind with something cool. Okay. All right, I was just telling people watching out for a possible market crash. Okay, irrational, sit out. Oh, come on, more people play along. You're gonna learn something. Irrational means sit out. One more thing. You're gonna write one more thing down. Irrational turn off all indicators. All indicators. Any indicator, not just ours, all. Write this down. If you have indicators on your chart, turn them off. Turn all of them off. Remove them or close down if you can. Turn them off. Write that down. Rational means sit out. Irrational means turn off all indicators. Because an indicator is something that tries to rationalize the market. I'm seeing this thing on this indication, and it's telling me I should do something. Well, that's what's called rationalization, right? This indicator points at this thing. I'm going to do this thing. We're assuming that rule is working all the time, and that's what we call a rationalization. And so irrational would obviously mean you don't want to do that. So your indicators are practically useless. Are they good? Yeah, maybe sometimes. Are they bad? Yeah, maybe sometimes. What you really just say is you can't use, they're unpredictable. The rationalization is unpredictable. So you treat them like they're going to be wrong. And so don't use them. Okay, ready? Number 2, type out and you'll remember this. Irrational means turn off all indicators. Whenever you type it, if everyone here, can you believe there's 160 people here, 150 people here, and only like 15 people playing the game. I promise, play the game. You will come out tomorrow better at something. Better at something, I promise. Remember, learning anything is the art of becoming incrementally better. You might not be a better trader. We don't like to promise you'll become a better trader, but you become better at something, even if it's better at following along on the stream. At minimum, I can guarantee if you do this, you'll get better at following along on the stream. That's for sure. Ready? On the count of 3, just type it in. Irrational means turn off all indicators. All of them. It doesn't matter which ones they are. Because an indicator by design is rationalizing a decision that you're making. You know, a rationalization is if I throw a ball up, it will come down. So if you throw a ball up and it doesn't come down, then something weird is happening. You're no longer going to use the relationship of if ball goes up, it must come down. You're like, well, that's not happening. That's okay. Well, you no longer know the answer. Why is it not coming down? Well, your indication of ball must come down was the only thing you had to go off of, and it's not doing it. Well, that indication doesn't tell you anything else. It doesn't tell you where it goes next. It doesn't. Ball goes down is a rule that says go down. Ball goes down doesn't say sideways, up, go in circles, spin around, do backflips. Doesn't say anything. So you can't use your rationalization that you previously knew when something irrational is happening. That ball's not coming down. That's irrational. That's weird. Gravity says, that shouldn't be happening. So where's the batteries and the fan and the jet engine and that fuel source, and that ball is making it fly around, right? You don't know, and your ball must come down equation doesn't account for any of those extra factors, right? So you just turn it off because you don't account for those extra weird things that are happening. Your moving average, nowhere inside of it has the word Powell written in there. Your moving average just looks at candle data and tries to chunk out an answer. It doesn't have the word CPI in the equation that's looking at those numbers. There's a lot of things that indicators don't account for. So certain things like a catalyst, for instance, if Powell's talking, can turn the market irrational because your indicators don't account for that. And that's the best part about Rocket Scooter is, you know, we're going to show you when your stuff isn't going to work. And what most people don't do is have something that tells you to sit out or turn off all your indicators. And these are the two biggest things. And again, I hate, now I'll speak personally. These two rules are how I have a win rate that's really high. If I do these 3 things, I'm now picky. I'm choosing to sit out and choosing to turn off indicators. Irrational. Write this down. Be picky. Irrational means sit out. Irrational means turn off all indicators. Irrational means be picky as a trader, right? And that's it. Be selective. Matt, why aren't you going to take this long? It's a good opportunity. I'm picky. Daddy likes his 80% win rate. I don't need money tomorrow to pay bills. I'm not in a hurry to do anything. It's a marathon, not a race. Right? Be picky. These are rules that let you be picky. Sit out, turn off all indicators, be picky as a trader. And if you are a professional and you do this all the time, when irrational, if you must trade, again, I don't teach this, but if you must trade, or you have to trade, or you have to hedge, or you have to do something, or you're stuck in something, trade small, very small. We say don't trade because as new traders, we don't trust teaching somebody to maneuver in a level that's irrational. I don't trust that you won't get in there and freeze. I can't trust that you're not scared of heights. I may be a professional mountain climber climbing to the top, and it may be your first day in that new environment. I can't trust that you won't get halfway up the mountain and your muscles freeze and then you get stuck and I got to come rescue you. So I'm not going to take you up that mountain that I climb. I'm going to take you up the easy mountain as a trainer, as a guide, as a Sherpa. Right? It's the same principle. Matt, how come I saw you do something? This goes against your rule. Well, I'm doing the expert mountain climbing. I'm not training you to be an expert. Not yet. Do we get it? And I get a lot of that, especially new people. When they come in and they learn from us and they say, well, Matt, why did you make this irrational trade? And then I go into an hour-long session explaining my methodology, and it probably goes over most people's heads unless you've been here for a year. And so when you ask the expert mountain climber how they tackled an expert situation, when the rock fell and they're hanging over the edge of a cliff and they're holding on by one hand, they reach in their tool belt and pull out those one or two tools and they use them completely differently than they normally taught you and save their own life and manage to climb to the top. Your first day as a mountain climber is not applicable to what you're going to be doing climbing the baby mountain or skiing the bunny slopes. So if you see me doing something when markets are irrational, your first thought is not, oh, I've been trading for 10 years. I'm so good at trading. Let me learn everything Matt's doing. You're still starting at day one with me. Walk up the mountain with me a couple of times and just absorb. And don't try to get inside of my head all the time and hear all the swirly whirly information that I'm pulling out tools and using them slightly differently to save my own ass. When I'm in a bad trade, or I can even make mistakes, and that happens too all the time, right? I'm a normal person. But in reality, this is what we train people to do when you're walking up the mountain the first time. Your first day you put on a snowboard and you're snowboarding on the bunny slopes. That's what this is. So we train you, don't go down double black diamonds on your first day. Don't trade irrational. It's a great way to put it. Irrational. I was looking for a metaphor and one just appeared. Irrational. Okay, write this down. Everybody, write this down. I don't know if you're skiing. Skiing is, if you never skied, you don't know what this is, but what's something that's equivalent to it? Irrational are double black diamond ski slopes. Like, those are the pros only. There's 10-foot drops from one cliff to the next. It's choppy. You could fall to your death. Irrational is a double black diamond ski slope. We say sit out. We say don't get on that ski lift right there on the side of the ski resort, right? That nobody's in line for. There's a reason nobody's in line for that. Go to the one right by the gift shop where a mom and dad are sitting there with their kids and everyone's a huge line. That's why it's the every person's ski slope. Don't go where the pros go on your first day of Rocket Scooter. It doesn't matter if it's your 20th year of trading. Spend a few weeks, and we're going to say 6 weeks in our training program, in the baby slopes. And then once you're like, I got this, easy. And then say, all right, baby, come down to double blacks with me. Advanced courses. Like, Matt, how did you piece these 5 or 10 things together and save your ass to turn that loss into a win? And I remember that one trade I did where it was like I got in too early, I made a mistake, it was yesterday, and I had like a 15-step process. I had to dive back and remember all my decisions. And here I am explaining like a master class on basically how I think when things are irrational or crazy. And so I'm like explaining how I, you know, imagine that favorite space movie of yours where the space station gets hit with the debris and it blows a hole in it, and George Clooney and Sandra Bullock are like out and it's all crazy and there's debris everywhere and things are on fire and there's air leaking out of their space suits and all this stuff, and how they manage to throw things together to survive. And you're asking me a class, how did you do that? Like you're going to learn something, right? You're not going to learn anything from that explanation. And how I rescue myself from a chaotic moment, unless you were already an expert and you know what every tool does, that I reach in my tool belt. Well, I grabbed this one thing that I usually use to tape up the hole, but instead I grabbed that thing, I took the tape, made a loop out of it, and smashed it on my helmet so that I could cover up a hole, and then I taped my other tool to it so I wouldn't drop it to free up a hand. So I had 2 hands to do this. I mean, that's not really useful to you unless you know what each tool does on its own, so you learn how to cleverly use them in a chaotic situation. You're like, well, wait, you usually use that tape just to, you know, tape things down so they don't float around in the cabin. Well, why are you using that tape to stretch from one side of the shuttle to the other? It's like, that's not useful to you immediately. So the rational on the side is like your pros level. Irrational is clever, non-standard, and write this down. Use of tools. It's today's lesson. And if you're taking notes, especially newer folks, take notes. Irrational means sit out, turn off all indicators, be picky as a trader. And then divide it like this. If new to rocket scooter, if a pro at rocket scooter, not trading, but rocket scooter, clever, non-standard use of tools, requires mastering, requires, write this down. Irrational is a clever, non-standard use of tools that requires mastering of the standard use of tools. Do we got it? Yeah, write it down, because if you write something, you're going to remember. So hopefully today's lesson, right? Whenever markets are irrational, we go through lessons. And the cool thing is markets being choppy and crazy and kind of going nowhere. And I didn't risk any money. But the best part is, like, literally at 9:30 in the morning, when the market opens, I go, I'm going to sit out today. As a matter of fact, before the market opened, I said, I'm probably going to sit out today. And I did sit out today. And again, I'm committed to the idea that we got a double black diamond in front of us. And I as a pro at rocket scooter, you know, I understand everything rocket scooter offers. I now am committed. I have a pro at rocket. Let me put the full name on there. I'm committed to, well, I mean, I know all of the different tools that I have, and I know all the standard uses, right? And let me get the stuff out from behind this so that it's easier to see. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. I'm actually gonna add this. Okay, and I'm going to cover up my trading platform, which I commit to never doing while in a trade. So I am in a trade, but I need a screenshot. So I'm going to remove that to have a little blank screen. So again, one of my little commitments is the trading platform never leaves the screen. It's always going to be there. But I am not in a trade, so we good. Okay, let's take a picture. Actually, let's go ahead and like change the color of this line in the middle. So you can see there's a clear divide. If new to Rocket Scooter, 1 to 3 months. Okay. Let me delete all this other stuff. Let's just make it clean. So make sure you guys jot all this down. I'm gonna put the screenshot in the Discord. But in reality, it's okay to be lost, right? It takes a while to get an understanding of standard use of tools. What's the benefit of what this guy Matt is telling you right now? Like, what's the benefit of doing all of this? We have rules that describe to you, a new person, that things are going to be hard for you. And you may say, why? And I'm going to say, I'm the expert. You need to trust me. You signed up to skydive. You're tethered in tandem to my stomach as I'm about to jump with you. And I say, we're not going to jump today, or you're not going to jump today. Don't say, well, why did you jump today? Because because that's the level I'm at, right? Does this starting to resonate with a lot of you? I have some people right now, they hit my DMs and they go, they're trying to learn everything at once, right? They're trying to skip to right here because they've been trading for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? They're ready to jump in to a brand new sport and take expert mode. And I don't care how good of a trader you are. If you're new to Rocket Scooter, you're new to Rocket Scooter. And these are completely different ways of seeing trading. And I don't care if you're a smart trader, you might pick it up faster than 4 months. You might pick it up in a month or less, but you need to judge your mastery of what we teach, your standard use of tools. We got it. Does this make sense? Okay, take a picture of this and we'll call it a day. Well, let's talk about the market and we'll call it a day. I'm going to post this in the Irrational section as they're making new stuff. Jeffrey Munson says, by the way, your lessons when irrational help us stop looking at the charts. Thanks for that. You're welcome. Okay. Rational beats picky. Enter Tony Robbins. Will you be following all your rules for the challenge? Maybe. Bartending. That's the whole point of this thing. I am a pro at Rocket Scooter. I may have to employ a clever, non-standard use of tools. Now, I'm going to hope I don't have to. I'm going to hope I'm not out there skydiving and my parachute rips off and I'm scrambling to do something. But your job in that moment is just to sit there like an observer and video the whole thing and just watch that chaos. Maybe post it to World Star or something and be like, oh, look, the skydiver, man, his thing broke and then this other thing broke and then he had to he caught on to the claws of a giant eagle that flew him to safety and he landed in the tree. I mean, just film it and just watch it and observe. Don't try to be like, okay, what am I going to do when I get there? Because it's such a rare thing. I'm going to try not to break any of my rules. But, as a human who's right now simultaneously in one podcast or one space and on a live stream and muscling a merger and dealing with our server being violently, maliciously attacked by an individual and getting that back online and trying to get the 200 people that sign up for Rocket Scooter in a single day situated, I may deviate my rules just on sheer stupidity alone, or that Maddie is tired or overworked and under rested and who knows. So you have to understand, I'm not going to come in on my A game some days too. Heck, I may wake up in a bad mood. I may have slept bad and just messed something up too. So I'll try my hardest to follow all the rules as I'm going to commit to demonstrating irrational and sitting out, because I want to demonstrate these techniques to you. But you must understand, if it's irrational and you see me trade, this is why we say don't copy my trades. Don't copy what I do. Not only is it unethical, it's also not legal for me to instruct your trading. You're not here to copy my trades. You're not here to copy what I do. You're here to learn from the expert at Rocket Scooter if you're interested in Rocket Scooter. Or if you like to watch a futures trader, you're here to learn about futures as well. So if I start skiing these double black diamonds, it's not a license or an invitation for you to immediately join a masterclass afterwards to understand every part of it. If you're new to Rocket Scooter, you're not going to gain much from that hour-long explanation other than a bombardment of confusion because you don't know all the smaller pieces of that yet. And I invite you to just be like, whoa, that was crazy, Matt. Nice win. How did you do it? And I'll be like, well, I piece together a bunch of stuff and maybe I could teach a class. And I usually do. And that's kind of for the master or the 4+ monthers, right? But you'll start to adopt. We don't want you to learn our stuff and start learning all these non-standard uses because that's like a one-time use, right? Like a screwdriver screws in a screw. But you know, and a hammer hammers a nail. But you know, if you don't have a hammer, a screwdriver can be a hammer. You can grab it by the metal part and smack the nail with the handle, and it does not as good of a job. You know, you have a smaller torque arm and less weight on the end. So you have to hit it harder and hit it more frequently, but you can get a nail into a board with a screwdriver. When you see me do that, you're not going to write down, okay, check, I can use a screwdriver as a hammer when I don't have a hammer. It's not where you need to go. When you get good at the standard use of tools, you will draw from memory from your mastery of your craft. Any craftsman. Is anybody here a craftsman or a craftswoman? If you are, you have a trade skill, such as like, I don't know, you're a millwright or a welder or name it. You're a painter. Does anybody here like work in a trade skill? You're probably like, you're like getting a chubby right now. You're like, this is exactly like me mastering my trade skill. You remember when you were apprentice, right? And you remember training under a master? And like a master craftsman? Anybody here? So like when I worked in the plants, you had a lot of trade skill type workers, which is you join a craft, right? And you learn your craft from a person who's more advanced than you. And what you really learned was how to use the tools normally, but you're also shadowing the expert so that you can watch them in their non-standard application. And you're just taking notes. Now you may aspire to be them one day, but you're going to train for a decade before you can earn that title that they have, before they hand their responsibility off to you for you to be the master craftsman or craftswoman that you can train an apprentice as well, right? Is everyone familiarized with that relationship? You're going to shadow. Maybe you're a waiter, right? I was a server when I was in college for a little bit. I always shadowed with the best server there to learn how the business worked. They showed me how to pour a drink. Okay, that was easy. But they also showed me little tricks here and there of how they can do this and that. But the non-standard stuff is what you learn little by little, not in a gulp. They don't sit there and go, okay, here's what I do and here's all the clever ways I do it. It's like, here's where the drinks are. Here's where the food runner station is. Here's where you get the ticket. Here's where you check out and get somebody's tab and take it to the table. And like, here's how I approach each guest and what I do. Like, here's the routine first. Routine up here. And here's what you do when things get a little weird. But right now, just watch me and take notes, right? And that's kind of what it is. Okay. Let's put that here. This is the last part of the lesson. And then we're going to talk about the market itself. So your routine. We call our apprentices cadets. i.e. a rocket, scooter, apprentice. Just your routine. This is master level or expert use of tools. Just watch and observe and take notes. Learn these applications slowly. That's it. That's really kind of what I want to say. I know yesterday people were like, how'd you turn this loss into a win? It was irrational. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And I remember teaching or typing a master class of yellow lines to people that had no idea what a yellow line was. So if you don't know what it is, it wouldn't make any sense for you to spend a lot of time committing to how I use them, right? Okay, let's go back to the trade. So nothing really today. We're going to go to zoom in a little bit like we always do. Again, when markets are rational, I don't necessarily want to do much. Monthly hedge pressure resilience is negative. We are breaking monthly hedge pressure on SPY. That is very dangerous. We had that hint early on that monthly hedge pressure was already strained. And when we got there, it already broke. So keep these things in mind. Jeff, you're a cabinet maker? Oh, sweet. So did you, yeah, so like you did maybe carpentry, and then of course, that specific type of, maybe a cabinet maker. I don't know if you do the carpentry or if you work with the carpenter and you design and assemble the cabinets. Either way, a trade skill where you create or make something, which is what a trade skill is. Somebody that creates or makes something, or maintains or changes or repairs something. You have to learn everything about that something. And then when you get thrown a curveball, you draw from your expertise to find a clever use to solve a problem. Holy shit, I measured all these things and I put them together and there's a space. What can I do to solve that problem? So your mastery of your craft, the master of that craft would have a better experience level and have seen everything more often. He'll know what to do more likely than somebody new. A machinist, Brian. Oh, dope. So it's kind of like trading is not a no, I guess I could say, and I don't think there's any job out there or any career path out there that does not contain an expert that you would probably shadow or follow. An accountant, a doctor, a teacher, an administrator. I don't think it doesn't, a pilot in the military. It doesn't matter what you do. You will always shadow a person with a lot of experience. For these two types of behaviors is to learn the routine. These are the buttons you push. Here's your flight routine. Like this is how you fly a plane, and these are the instructions. But this is like if an emergency happens, these are other standards you can do. And then if you have something that doesn't have a standard for it, you got to get clever to land the plane safely. Yeah. So you have to master the routine stuff, and then your mastery there allows you to be clever. Yeah. Okay. Irrational day today. GD band is irrational. Ready? This is the game. And I know people are still kind of like diving out, but the game is not over. We're almost done. Okay. We have an indication that I just drew these black boxes to say irrational here, okay? So at the start of the day, we know that this one was here. It's just one of our calculations. And at the end of the day, sorry, at the start of the day, this is calculated actually the night before. So futures provide one cool irrational tool. So I actually can pre-market prepare for this one. Right when the market opens, I get hedge pressures. And when you break through hedge pressure, it's also irrational. So I'll just name them, but don't try to go too far into it. Just remember that the lesson was on irrational. So, as I would assume that all of you here consider yourself an apprentice, irrational, if you wrote it all down earlier and you've been listening, what would you do? If price, for a hot moment, started doing something irrational or is currently irrational. Your machine is starting to wobble in a weird way you've ever seen it. The wood in your cabinets starting to melt and warp, and you've never seen that happen before while you're sawing through it. I'm trying to see what other trade skills people talked about. Now everybody go. You've typed something before. Market's irrational. From your point of view, what does your brain immediately think when you hear the word irrational? Now, just free spirit type. This is the game. Type what irrational evokes. Draws. Evoke means draw. Like draw forward or create or recreate an experience for you. What does the word irrational do to your brain right now when you hear it? Remember, evoke means to bring forward or to recall consciously something, which should evoke means immediately create an experience for you. HV said, what is DD Mikey? And I said, don't worry about it, remember? Yeah, don't worry about what it means. Don't dive too deep. Just the word irrational. That's what the lesson is. Pace yourself. Just like, what do you feel, right? Like, even describe your feelings. Imagine this. You walked up to a mountain and that's steeper than you thought. What do you feel? Like, what are you feeling? When you hear the word irrational, what do you feel? Not only what do you learn, but what do you feel? Like, screw this, I'm out. Race around. Yeah, in the summertime, you're just like, man, I'm going to the pool. Yeah, be honest. Like, remember, trading is an emotional game. If you didn't know that, it is. What do you feel when you see the word irrational? Like, what feelings are evoked? Like, what draws to the conscious mind or your conscious feelings? You feel nervous, anxious, like unsure, like, I don't know if I should tackle this, right? And that is what we're trying to go with this. Confused. Yeah, all of those things are correct, right? So it's more like I'm a little nervous or I'm a little confused or I'm a little vulnerable. I like vulnerable. That's a great Ray. I think Ray hit the nail on the head because vulnerable is a very strong word for trading, because vulnerable also can go into the fact that you risk more. You can lose a whole lot more because your account is vulnerable to bigger loss, right? So yeah, those are great ways to feel. And like the whole point of this exercise is a psychological lesson. Irrational is supposed to scare you. And I don't teach it in a scary way because, you know, people say, well, the market's scary, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not really like a haunted house where you go in there and it's like people are jumping around the corner going, boo. I mean, market can do that to your account, sure. You're supposed to approach it with a little bit of like some timidness, right? Like a little standoffishness. To me, as an expert, I'll tell you what irrational means to me. I need to go slower and I need to assess my surroundings a little better. I need to dive deeper into my memory and experience and try to be a little clever here. That's what irrational means to me. And as you get to be 5, 10, 15 years trading or even rocket scooter, you'll start to think irrational will have a different feeling. But that feeling is not something that you're taught, right? That feeling comes from the opposite of what you all said. As a cadet or a new person, you're vulnerable, you're anxious, you're nervous. How do you become less vulnerable to something, less anxious of something, less nervous of something, less confused of something? What is the one single thing that you have? There's a word I'm saying that you have. I have blank with something, and that's what let me be less anxious about it, less nervous about it, less vulnerable, less confused. What is that blank? I have a lot of tools. I have a lot of blank at something. Confidence, experience is the word I was looking for. There you go. Okay. So the difference, right? The emotional, as you all just, this is the game, and I love that you, those of you that stayed here for that, this is a great lesson in psychology, right? The way that you change the emotions that are evoked upon you when you are entering an area that's confusing to you because you're new or you haven't experienced it before. You feel vulnerable because you're not prepared. This is very vulnerability means you're not prepared to handle that. You know, you are walking into a fire without a without an FRC on your body. Right? Anxious or nervous because just the feeling of uncertainty makes you feel anxious, right? And the way that you curb those feelings is through experience. And experience, as I say, is the lesson. And that's exactly why I circled back around to say you learn to become the expert, you earn it slowly. This is experience only. You're turning from the routine to the feelings are going to get away and fuck your shit up. Okay, that's what that line is about. This is the feelings that you battle. This is the routine that you should see. And so what we try to teach you is that irrational means sit out because I don't trust you as your trainer to manage your feelings well. And if you don't think we put our thoughts at every angle of training people, you didn't think that the rational equals sit out is a complete lesson in your feelings as a trader. Did y'all learn something today? I don't trust you on your own as a cadet or a mountain climber or whatever to walk up to the unknown and walk down or ski down that double black diamond without breaking your neck. And you already feel nervous staring at it. To me, it's like a toddler walking out towards a street, right? You're going to run and grab their hand and say, no, don't do it yet. That's a car that'll kill you, right? And that's the whole point. Irrational means sit out because you have to understand the market is a place designed by humans that want to steal all of your money and put it in their pocket. And now in 2023, they've built very sophisticated machines that are designed to take money and put it in their pocket as well. Then not only that, they're designed to exploit your emotions. As trading algorithms have become infinitely more sophisticated, market makers provide liquidity to the market, which is a fancy term for saying market makers are trying to guess where buyers and sellers are. Well, you can either guess where they are or you can induce bringing them to the table. You could put out a plate of honey and hope the ants come to it. Let's raise the market a little tiny bit. That'll bring some buyers. So lower the market a little bit. That'll bring some sellers. Okay. Or that'll induce some sellers, right? Induce some buyers, induce some sellers. They can create things that exploit your emotions, your desire, your greed. They exploit your weakness to make you do something, and then they take your money. You get it? Irrational is your tool to battle against the big boys that are doing that to your emotions as a new person to the market. How many times you jump into a green candle and it turns into a loss? How many times you jump into a red candle and a short and it turns into a loss as well? How many times did you see something you wanted to get in on it? It looked great. You jumped in and you got slammed, right? I would say the level of sophistication 20 years ago, when algorithms were just getting started, were enough to start exploiting your emotions. Like wherever they are now, who knows how good they are at looking at behavioral patterns of humans and finding out what really gets people going. And in all honesty, irrational is a mode where your emotions may be exploited in the price action you see. So you don't want to chase what you see and do anything else. You don't want to do what you normally routinely do as a new trader. The only way you can survive in an irrational market is that you no longer have that ability to be emotionally baited or tricked. Or let me jump in on this. Look at this. Last part of the lesson, you see this red candle, right? You might be looking at this and say, this market's crashing. I need to short this, right? Irrational market means liquidity map and DD are out of the equation. Bartending, yes. Irrational market also means that resilience does not show, or that you do not assume that resilience leads the market or that stocks move first. So resilience can be used at an expert level understanding of, you have to look at it on both sides. I call it like a Schrodinger's cat. Resilience can either A, lead the market, or B, not lead the market. So not lead the market could be all kinds of other things. It could be at par with the market. It could lag the market. So it either leads or it doesn't lead. And the rationality is that it leads. When irrational, you assume it doesn't lead, which means it can do all sorts of things. So then you're reaching in the non-standard use and figuring it out. So if you take the stance that, okay, I think maybe I'm watching a bunch of stocks and it looks like the stocks are delayed and the index is moving first, then I have to adopt and say, well, maybe people are getting squeezed out of the index. So resilience is then therefore lagging. So let me make sure that resilience catches up to my trade to confirm it, right? That's a non-standard use. And I do that all the time when I trade irrational, is the non-standard use of resilience. Is I have to take that it's not leading stance and then I need to watch it catch up, assuming that it's not leading, but it doesn't mean it's lagging. Not leading means not leading. It could be at par, but or it could be leading. You don't know. Irrational means irrational. So you throw out resilience as a standard use. You throw out DD as a standard use. And you throw out liquidity map as a standard use. All of it. You turn all of it off. Did y'all like the lesson today? Irrational DD, irrational hedge pressure break. And I put these black boxes here to tell me not to do anything. Right? So what's neat is that market gap, the S&P was up 30 something points. And now it's gone all the way down to fill the gap. And the first thing I said was there was no volatility. We're probably stuck here and not going to go higher or lower. And that was wrong. We actually went lower, which is great because irrational means I don't know. I can't rationalize. That was my rationalization. Well, it was right for a little bit. I said we're probably stuck at the high and we're not going to go much higher. And probably just going to chop around for a little bit, which I guess was somewhat right-ish. But look at that. No market crash. Well, who would have known that? Nobody. But I knew it was irrational and I knew I didn't know. And look at that. I didn't long the BLU. And that's exactly what the lesson today. Right? BLU started off irrational. I didn't long. And that is the first rule we teach you is when irrationally you sit out. Y'all get it? So if I go to Discord in a little bit and I read a bunch of why didn't you long the BLU? Everybody help them out. Did you see Matt's stream today? You've been here for 2 weeks. You sit out. You're new. It's irrational. You don't trade irrational markets yet. Irrational sit out. Look at that. BLU was a long. I didn't take it because irrational flag. And all of a sudden, irrational territory 1, irrational territory 2. Look at that. The minute you even start there, your brain already goes, ooh, that's a weird storm on the horizon. Let's stay away. So if you like how we teach, you like what we do, you like the process here, Rocket Scooter is a community that has built a trading platform that's evolving as years go by. And we're inviting people to come check it out. We have an extended trial, which is a cool thing. You can join our 3-month program for $35 a month and get full access to the platform. All your live data feeds, candles, charting, scanner, all the new functions and features coming out. That's a $200 a month normal subscription, the extended trial. Just play for it for 3 months. Go through our training. Like this is our training is like what you saw on YouTube today. We don't always do this on YouTube, but it's like this every day. Every day you walk away with something that makes you incrementally better at something. Maybe it's trading. Hopefully, we hope that you learn and get better at traders. We don't promise you become better traders, right? As a master craftsman myself, I'm very honest with you. Trading is hard and it's very risky, and very, 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 very few of you, if not none of you in this chat, will become people who do this for a living. It's an anomaly to be great at trading, to be good at trading. It's very rare to find a master at their craft just walking around on the street, right? Who's the world's best yo-yo person? Who's the world's best frisbee thrower, right? There's always a person that you just watch on TikTok that just is like, holy crap, they're great at what they do, right? But not everybody can be that. This is not it's not the skill that everybody can unfortunately have. But a lot of you think this is my future. I want to do this. Well, because you saw other people do it and it looks cool. Or maybe you see that people make a lot of money doing it and you want to be that. You're becoming a master at your craft. It's like any other game. It's like any other work. It's like any other trade skill. You got to practice to become good enough, let's be honest, to compete with me, people that do this for a living. And no offense. In my head, now I don't say this to y'all here, but in my head, I'm so confident in my trading, I'll trade pink slips for businesses against anybody in this chat or on YouTube. That's how confident I am as a trader. But I've been doing this for so long. That comes from experience. It doesn't come from knowledge or cockiness. That comes from, I know how well I do from experience from doing it. And you won't be there quickly. You won't be there, if at all. Most of you will never get there. But if you aspire to get there, I want you to commit to training little by little to become incrementally better at something. Even if you don't become a professional or full-time trader, I promise you, if you go through our program, you'll become better at something. That's a guarantee. Even if it's better at hanging out in the stream, you'll learn a little bit more about how to listen to me. The free stream you watch for a little bit. It'll help you understand things a lot better if you just want to lurk around and get some free info every day. You're still going to be lost because I don't do much training in the stream. Today you got to experience a free training lesson just for fun. But it's like that in the Zoom calls every day. That's part of the package. So if you do the $35 a month extended trial package, you get $600 Rocket Scooter stuff for just $105 for 3 whole months. And I'm going to tell you something. I think the best thing that we teach people, you'll walk away a better human. You'll solve problems better. You'll approach problems with the same mindset I taught you today. You'll be able to recognize that something is just beyond your reach of expertise, and you'll learn to be timid. You'll learn to evoke those emotions that tell you to watch out and be careful. And you'll start to analyze and assess what you know, and then learn what you don't know and learn how to solve problems better. As a matter of fact, the skill set I'm teaching you right now, it actually is something I was trained in. It's actually my former career. As an engineer that works in a plant, in my 20s, now in my 40s, my job was to solve problems. My job wasn't just to exist. My job was to make the company money, make them more money if I could, and solve problems when they happened. When the problem happened, there was no immediate solution. The way we solve problems is you get everybody that had ever put their hands on that thing into a room. Doesn't matter. The pump fails, right? Shit spills all over the ground and there's a fire, and the fire burns down a tank, and you lose a month's worth of product, and maybe someone gets injured, God forbid, right? That's a huge liability to the company, both on product loss and on the unfortunate injury, right? And you're required to do an assessment, just even by OSHA. You have to troubleshoot and investigate what happened, but also just on the product quality alone, you got to figure out how you lost all that money. And so what they do is, okay, everyone that's ever been upstream or downstream of this pump and put their hands on this pump, get in a room now. It's not, let's go to the textbook and figure out, what's normally happening. It's not one guy saying, oh, I know what happened. It's such a huge liability, and you blowing up your account in trading is such a huge liability. It can ruin your life. You lose everything you have. Your spouse can leave you with the children, and you're stuck with nothing, and you didn't know that was at risk. You didn't know that liability's there. So in a plant situation, if you're the person, if you're the manufacturer of that pump, you got a rep in the meeting. If you're the millwright that maintains the rotating equipment, you're going to be there in that meeting. If you're a welder, put the pipe together, you're there in that meeting. If you're an engineer at the unit upstream of the plant, you're in that meeting. If you're an engineer downstream of the plant, you're in that meeting. If you used to work on that part of the plant 10 years ago and you got promoted 3 or 4 times, you're in on that meeting. Anyone that's ever been with their hands on that thing, 6 you millwright, bro. Nice. I was process engineer, so I'm speaking from the experience of turnarounds and plants and stuff. I did so many things like this when I was younger, that every time there's a problem, anybody that even looked at that thing was in that room, and they went around the table and got everyone's opinion, and everybody that was exposed to that thing listened to what everyone else that was exposed to that thing knew about that thing. And then everybody gained a massive dump of not education, but wisdom, right? It's called root cause analysis. Yeah, root cause analysis, and Charles hit it. And so what you would do is, you're not there having everybody recite, well, a pump works like this. There's an impeller and it draws a suction, and you look at the net positive suction head to make sure that nobody's in there spouting the textbook basic routine stuff that everybody knows. Everybody's there saying, oh yeah, I remember in 1989, that pump used to wiggle around every time we got acetone in the line. There was some and then somebody would be like, oh, really? Okay, let's write that down as a possible avenue to explore. And this guy says, every time we hired this one welder in this other piece of the plant, his shit used to fail. So, okay, let's make sure he didn't touch that piece of pipe. Who did that? Who did that work on that line in that last turnaround, right? And so you get everyone's experience and wisdom together, and there's somebody taking notes of what do you remember from this thing? And everyone's drawing from memory. And then all of a sudden you got a list of things to go investigate, and they're all non-standard, right? That's kind of the thing we're trying, and like that's how I train people here, is that, you know, you are doing root cause analysis, and then you dive down each one of those paths until you back into the answer. And ultimately, you should have a combination of enough wisdom that the answer is in. One person will have come up with that one thing, that one solution, that one idea from experience to land Apollo 13 shuttle, the Apollo 13 spacecraft safely after things start going crazy in the middle of the field. They pull everyone together in a room and say, what do you know? What do you know? What do you know? And that's really how you do anything when problems are happening. Ray does that in healthcare too? No way. So like if you have like a really weird condition or an accident that nobody's seen before, there's no textbook answer, all the doctors, any specialists, all the people that have experienced, you get everyone together and say like, okay, where do we go from here, right? So when you're out there shopping or learning about trading education, right? That one moron that's like, I'm the best, they're the worst, I'm the best, these guys suck, I'm amazing, learn from me. Do you even feel like that person's gonna provide you layers of wisdom that comes from hundreds of different angles, decades of experience? Or that just sound like an idiot? There's no one person that contains the wealth of all wisdom that's useful to you. It takes a group of experts to teach apprentices. It really does. And as the junior engineer at that plant, remember, my job when I worked at Dow is an acrylic acid monomer plant. I ran the reactor units. I was the quote unquote go-to guy, right? On the engineering side, there was an operations lead who was the go-to person there. And they had people that would work shifts, and it was a different person every time of the day. We had 5 rotating guys. There was a lead on the board. And then we had maybe 6 or 7 rotating guys who were, some of them were permanent, some of them were flex. So I had maybe 12 operators that I could pull from. And every day it was, I'm working with a combination of 2 different guys or girls. And they were all experts. If I'm working one day with this dude named Jeff and we had a problem and Jeff said, man, I don't know, but hey, why don't you go ask Bill? Because I know Bill was working on something like this a couple years back. So then when I'd give Bill a phone call and we pull him on and be like, hey, do you remember this? He'd be like, no, I think Joey was doing something with this last week too. You might want to give him a holler. And so you're like rotating between people until they come up with a path that you can take and investigate. Everyone's an expert, but not everybody is familiar with every experience. And the point is that when you're learning something, you want to be around a lot of experts, right? When you're learning the experience part, the emotions part, you want to be around people who are a panel of experts. So everybody draws from their wisdom. If I see something I don't know, me, you know, I have experts I consult. I always talk about some of them. I'm a huge fan of Mel Stone. I'm a big fan of Markets and Mayhem. I bug all these people all the time with stuff that I don't understand. Like, hey, something weird happened today. What do you know from your experience? And Mel, oh, you know, we had this weird dark pool activity today. And then I go, oh, okay. How do I apply that to what I already know? And how do I get better at what I'm doing? And so it's like, even no matter where you are, you're never going to be that one person that knows all those things and has all that wisdom. That's just an ego trip of a psychotic maniac with a God complex. Right? Basking in obscurity and desperate for attention and money and sales. There's trading gurus out there that are ready to, I guess I'll say, pretend to be the wisdom center of all things at all times. Essentially, a deity. No omniscient, omknowing. No, right? You as a trader in your journey are to find as many experts as you can to train with as years go by, so that you have a combined panel of wisdom to draw from. Learn from us, our 3-month thing, and then leave and go anywhere else. I've got a ton of experts that I know that I can recommend to y'all after you're done here. to learn from their thing and their thing and their thing. And then you've learned maybe 5 or 6 different things and you experience a problem. You got 5 or 6 different pieces of wisdom to pluck from and to get to the root cause of your problem. Can you get dark pool data for our site? It is very possible. I'm not sure we'll go down that route anytime soon. It's not impossible. In a business sense, like, you know, while it is fun to imagine that I'm going to have a trading platform that's a one-stop shop for all the things, but unfortunately, when you start, you know, like I say, I just watched The Founder, which is one of my favorite movies. And I know it kind of sounds really neat, geeky and nerdy, but I love to watch movies about the journey of people who create empires. Like, I like watching, and I know this is not the popular opinion of the room, but I like the Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs movie more than I like the other Steve Jobs movie. Even though the other Steve Jobs movie is very accurate and more focused on Steve Jobs the man, the Ashton Kutcher movie called Jobs really should have been retitled like The History of Apple, because it really was very little about Steve Jobs. But I think Ashton actually played the hippie Steve Jobs very well. At least that side. But The History of Apple, I love like movies like the history of something. One of my favorite miniseries was The Temptations, the band, right? And how all that, like the history of the band and like it was such a cool, like I like watching rags to riches stories, or like took a small thing into a big thing. And I just watched The Founder the other day, and I made Nicole watch it for the first time. Like, it's one of my favorite movies. Any movie like that's like my favorite movie. And so in The Founder, just going back into that, you know, it was about the history of McDonald's and Ray Kroc, right? This is a story centered around Ray Kroc, the first CEO of McDonald's, who basically was a salesman who sold himself into the business, and then he stole it from them. Now, in regards, they weren't innovators. They had a beautiful, perfect system that wasn't scalable because only they were good enough to manage and master it. Nobody else was as talented, right, is Dick and Mac, right? They were geniuses at what they did. So you can't franchise something that requires a genius to operate and manage, right? And so they couldn't innovate because their system was so good, only they can run and operate it. And then they were so limited because they were so driven for efficiency, they couldn't expand. And when they expanded, it failed because the people that ran their expansions weren't as good as them, right? So you got to think of like your overbearing technical indicator salesman is like that. They're a genius and they're great at what they do. And unfortunately, it's not repeatable, right? So what Ray Kroc did was like, even though he was kind of the innovator, he stole it from them and didn't pay them their royalties and found a cool way to do it. And while he was kind of a crummy person, he also was the only way that business could expand, right? And so you have to understand that there's a difference between like something being repeatable that everyone can do it, or something being so good and so mastery that only the master can do it. And that's like this for McDonald's, right? It's so sophisticated that it's impossible for like the average Joe to pick it up. And another thing to answer your question was, you know, will I ever have dark pool data? And that spawned this talk. And that the answer is, the reason in the movie they kind of highlight this, but like when you'd franchise out, they had no control of the franchisees. It was very loose quality control. And actually what Ray Kroc did was invent a quality control system which bought the land that every McDonald's was built on, and then they threatened to cancel the lease of the franchisee if they didn't follow the standards. So that was kind of a neat trick to force them to follow standards, right? Because at the time in the movie they showed it, it was like somebody had a McDonald's and have like brisket and tacos on the menu, and they're like, wait, no, focus on what sells: hamburgers, French fries, and sodas, right? And so in all thing in a business sense, will we have dark pool data? I don't want to be the McDonald's that has tacos and macaroni and cheese, and like it's like there are other software that's already good. There are other restaurants that already have that stuff that are really good, and I have no desire to compete with them in a saturated market. As a matter of fact, if you want the dark pool stuff, I always plug Black Box. That's like the go-to stuff, and I don't think Rocket Theater is ever going to enter the world of doing that. Not only one is because it doesn't tie in right with currently our offerings of what we teach and do, but another thing is that Like, I have friends that run an amazing steakhouse, and I'm a sushi place. You want steak? I'm not gonna put steak on the menu. I'm gonna say go across the street. I got some friends got a fantastic steak shop, right? So buy their stuff and buy our stuff and put them side by side. If we do take the route of getting that data and creating the techniques and technology to put it on, it would start making our restaurant just lose its focus, which again, our job is to create like a single focus here. And so obviously it's probably not going to happen, but it's not an immediate timeline to consider. So somebody said, also when something you do goes wrong, other root cause, how did this happen? What factors contribute to the negative outcome? Race somewhere. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we learned from this to be damn sure it doesn't happen again. So sophisticated watching movies that teach you something while I'm over here eating buffalo wings and crying during Forrest Gump when Bubba dies. I'll tell you, one of my favorite YouTube channels is called The Company Man. And it's a guy that just talks about like the history of different companies. And it's like, I'm such a geek for those things. I like watching those kind of stories. There was this one mini series, I think on Netflix, that was like the Barons or Titans of Industry, and I can't remember the name of the series, but it went over like Kellogg versus Post, that feud. It went over the history of Milton Hershey, Hershey chocolate. It went through what was his name? Heinz. I forget, Ray Heinz, or whatever his name is. The ketchup guy. Like John Pemberton, the guy that made Coca-Cola. It's like when you start to study and learn the history of people that build something from scratch. I mean, obviously that is what I do for a living too, is I'm building something from scratch, right? It shouldn't be a surprise to you that my heroes in this world, I love watching shows and stories and histories of companies and histories of people that invented and made something. Like, it's so fun to see how they did it. It's inspiring. But I do also like sappy, tear-jerking dramas too. Forrest Gump's like one of the best movies ever made in the 90s. So anyways, I'm out. Discord, go now. We're going to get everybody in here. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and there's no coaching session today because this is it. This is a little taste of what the coaching is. We do these on YouTube. We do these normally in Zoom and record them and post them, but go here. Everyone go here now. Make sure you like the stream on the way out. We're glad you came. Go to Rocket Scooter and do this free trial. It's 3 months, and after 3 months, you can either stick around or leave. I promise you've wasted $105 on tons of things you wish you didn't spend it on. This is 3 months of training with an expert at Rocket Scooter, right? I won't even say I'm an expert at training. I'm an expert at Rocket Scooter. You'll learn stuff you've never learned before, and you can stick around or you can be on with your journey, but you will always have a friend in me who you can pluck wisdom from anytime problems happen. As your master craftsman Rocket Scooter, when you have 10 different tools under your belt over the years of your training, you always have a friend to come back to say, hey, Matt, remember me? I used to be a member. There's this one thing that's happening today. Can I quiz you real quick? What do you think's going on? And I'll be there. Promise. Okay, we love you guys. We'll see you later.